18 regions, 121 million people, one question. Where is the best place to be in the Philippines when the dead start walking? Stick around to the end, because the safest place to be when the outbreak kicks off in the Philippines might just be the last place you'd ever expect. And just so we're all on the same page here, we're dealing with classic walkers in this video, slow, dumb, but dangerous in numbers. And a few quick notes about the Philippines before we hop into this. Most of the country is hot and humid. That heat and moisture speeds up soft tissue breakdown. Insects swarm and bacteria grows, which means faster rot, stronger odor, and higher disease risk for survivors. Bodies blow in the lake, then collapse, risking contamination in water sources. There's no winter in the Philippines either, so cold never has a chance to slow the zombies. Also, most Filipinos, especially in rural marginalized communities, often rely on hand pumps to access groundwater due to limited access to piped water systems. So they're less at risk of dying of thirst compared to most people who rely on piped water systems. Keep in mind they'll probably have a hand pump somewhere for groundwater. Alright, mga kababayan ko, let's go! And yes, if you didn't know, I was born and raised in the Philippines. Now with all that yapping out of the way, let's begin, shall we? First up, at number 18, we have Metro Manila, the national capital region of the Philippines. Located in Luzon, it's a dense mega-urban city with an estimate of 26.7 million people as of 2025. An outbreak here would be an instant super horde. The population density is the highest in the country, so millions of initial zombies would overwhelm the streets and alleyways. With 50+% of the region's population in one continuous metropolis, a collapse doesn't stay local. It'll spill outwards. Refugees and roaming zombies would flood into neighboring provinces. Water is a critical weakness here too. Metro Manila relies on pumped water infrastructure like dams and water treatment plants from distant provinces, which will likely fail during a collapse. There are few natural water sources in the city, which means survivors face immediate water scarcity once taps run dry. Their only options are heavily polluted rivers like Pasig, which now risk contamination from decaying bodies. Food will run out fast here too. The city has no farms and only weeks worth of supermarket stock. No local agriculture means total reliance on imports from other provinces. If imports stopped due to a zombie outbreak, it wouldn't take long for this region to exhaust its food supply. Climate offers no relief here either. Seasonal typhoon floods could actually wash more undead through city streets and destroy flimsy shelters. The national capital region is a flat urban sprawl with no rural defenses, few choke points to contain hordes. The bay and coastal areas don't help much, except as partial barriers on one side. Military and policing presence is highest here, with the headquarters of Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippines National Police. But that's a double-edged sword. While there are weapons and trained personnel, the sheer scale of chaos in a metro this size means the chain of command would likely break. Camps could be overrun from both infected inside and desperate civilians at the gates. Any remaining forces might evacuate to safer rural bases, leaving Metro Manila largely a dead zone. Infrastructure vulnerability is extreme as well. Metro Manila's complex power grid, transport, and communications will crumble immediately, and the densely built environment will hinder mobility. And the population here is highly urbanized, with fewer survival skills like farming or hunting. Most residents are dependent on modern services. When those fail, chaos and panic intensify. Overall, Metro Manila scores the worst on nearly every survival metric. It's essentially a giant death trap as soon as the outbreak kicks off. This is the absolute worst place to be in the Philippines during a zombie apocalypse. I'll even go as far as saying that Metro Manila is one of the worst places on planet Earth to be if there was a zombie outbreak. You do not want to be here. I cannot stress that enough. There are too many people packed in too close together. And if my fellow Filipinos aren't quite following what I'm trying to say, basically it comes down to this. Patay ka dito. You do not want to be here. Ayaw mo dito. At number 17, we have CALABARZON, the southern Tagalog belt that wraps Metro Manila. It covers Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Rizal, and Quezon, with roughly 17.5 million people. If Metro Manila falls, highways like South Luzon Expressway, Cavite Expressway, and Marcos Highway become zombie corridors. As for water in this region, it's accessible through Laguna de Bay, Taal Lake, and a few rivers, but most of it is polluted. Many households rely on pumping stations, so when power goes, taps go with it. Rural homes often have manual water pumps like I mentioned earlier, which gives some communities a backup option. As for food, some options exist post-collapse, but not on the scale needed to feed everyone. Quezon has coconuts and root crops, Batangas has fisheries and livestock, and Laguna has small farms. These can't sustain millions once supply chains collapse. The climate offers no help either. Typhoons and floods push bodies and sewage into streets. And Taal Volcano adds another layer of risk too. This location consists of mostly open terrain. There are some buffers like the Sierra Madre Ridge, Tagaytay Ridge, and the forests of Mount Banahaw, but holding coastal strips at Batangas or Quezon is hard without boats and fuel. As for armed forces, military and policing exists here through Camp Kapinpin, Cavite's naval base, and Lipa's air base. They might hold off if isolated, but those are near cities and risk early breach. Infrastructure turns dangerous here too. Expressways and refineries become zombie highways and hazard zones. Life skills and culture are split. Rural areas are familiar with farming and fishing, but most people rely on city systems. That gap creates tension when survival depends on practical skills. Overall, CALABARZON ranks second worst. Overcrowding and Metro Manila's spillover crushes its early survival chances. Only isolated mountains or forest communities stand a real chance of surviving here. Next up, north of Metro Manila at number 16, we have Region 3, located in central Luzon, which covers Bulacan, Pampangas, Bataan, Zambales, and Aurora. I'm sure there's more places, but there's just too many to list off, but this location has about 13 million people that all live across flat, connected plains. When Metro Manila collapses, the North Luzon Expressway and Subic-Clark-Tarlac Expressway channel refugees and infected straight into Bulacan and Pampangas. Multiple mid-sized cities ignite at once, and open farmland offers little to slow hordes. Water sources here are better than previous regions though. Angat Dam, the Pampanga river systems, canals, and irrigation wells provide clean sources, though anything downstream of towns risk contamination. Food is this region's selling point. It's the rice heartland with corn, poultry, and fish from aquaculture. Long-term, secured mills and farming communes could sustain communities. And just like previous regions, the climate gives no pause. This region faces multiple typhoons each year. Landscape here is mostly wide open. The Sierra Madre to the east and Zambales Mountains to the west offer defensible upland. Inside the Central Plain, movement is easy for people and zombies. As for military and police, they have Clark, Subic, and Fort Magsaysay, and the expressways here link every town back to Manila. During a zombie outbreak, expressways would act like a zombie conveyor belt, feeding zombies into other regions. In this region, life skills and culture favor survival outside of cities. Many residents farm, repair machinery, raise livestock, and own firearms for crops and defense. Organized barangays can leverage these strengths once initial chaos passes. Overall, Central Luzon ranks 16th. The initial conditions are brutal due to spillover and open terrain, but it edges above Metro Manila and CALABARZON because of the abundant food, water, and nearby highlands that give real long-term potential. Up next at number 15 is Region 7, located in Central Visaya. This centers on Cebu and Bohol. Metro Cebu holds over 3.2 million people, and an outbreak here would unleash a massive urban horde that overruns its narrow streets. The island's geography would contain the infection, but also traps survivors. If Cebu falls, it risks becoming an island of the dead. Bohol is separated by a narrow strait, so if it locks down ports early, it might avoid mass infections from Cebu. Water here is limited though. The island depends on groundwater that becomes inaccessible once pumps fail. Rural wells and rain catch systems offer backup, but droughts make it unreliable. Again though, don't forget that most people here have manual hand pumps. The grid going down and losing access to water is more of a first world problem. Speaking of problems, food is also an issue here. Cebu depends on imports and has little arable land. Bohol has more farms and coastal fisheries, so rice, coconuts, and fish are all available outside of cities. Large commercial fleets will run into issues once they lose access to fuel, but small bangkas, aka boats, can still fish without the need for fuel. Urban survivors in Cebu will struggle to access boats or fuel, so coastal barangays become the lifeline. Geography and defense favor rural areas. Cebu's mountain spine creates defensible upland retreats, and Bohol's rolling terrain and rivers can be used for natural barriers. Coastal areas are easier to defend, but exposed if zombies drift or follow noise. Military and infrastructure focus on Cebu City, including AFP Central Command, ports, and airports. These turn into contamination points once the city falls. Remote bases inland or Bohol Airport could become fallback zones. Cebu's vibrant culture blends modern, urban expertise with century-old maritime traditions. Many residents possess skilled seamanship, providing survivors with a crucial mobility edge. Overall, Central Visayas ranks 15th. Cebu's density and water scarcity makes the initial collapse brutal, but Bohol being rural and its defensible terrain give it better odds for isolated survivor pockets long-term. At number 14, we have the Davao region in Mindanao. With a population of around 5.4 million people, its fate hinges on Davao City, the largest urban center in the south. An outbreak here would unleash hundreds of thousands of zombies that quickly overwhelm coastal districts and spill into nearby towns like Tagum and Digos. Unlike Metro Manila, Davao City is more isolated in the southeast, making it possible, though difficult, to blockade major highways north and south to contain the horde. Water is one of the region's strongest assets. Mountain springs feed Davao City, and rivers and wells are common across the provinces. Clean sources away from population centers will remain reliable long-term, even after taps fail. Food is another strength. The region is rich in fruit plantations, rice fields, coconuts, and fisheries along Davao Gulf. These resources can support survivors once the initial chaos passes, though plantation sites may face looting and waves of refugees early on. Geography and defense offer clear advantages. The Davao Gulf, the Davao River, and surrounding mountain ranges. Survivors could retreat to highlands like Maragusan or the Mount Apo forest, controlling bridges and the mountain passes to contain zombies. This region is also less prone to typhoons compared to most of the country, and the military and policing capacity is strong here. Eastern Mindanao Command is based in Davao City, along with several naval and army sites. If forces retreat early to inland bases, they could provide a solid defensive core. Culture and skills mix urban life with rural resilience. Outside the city, many farm or fish for a living, and Mindanao generally has more civilian firearms. Indigenous groups in remote areas may also survive with little contact. Overall, Davao region ranks 14th. Davao City's fall creates a dangerous initial wave, but abundant resources, defensible terrain, and fewer natural disasters give the outer province real long-term survival potential. Coming in at number 13 is Region 9, located in Mindanao. This region has around 4 million people spread across small towns and a few cities. The main threat here is Zamboanga City, with nearly 1 million residents. That's 1 million potential zombies. An outbreak there would create a large horde, but the peninsula makes it strategically easier to isolate. A blockade near Sibugay could cut off the entire region, turning it into a defensible area. Water is abundant here as well. The peninsula gets heavy rainfall and has many rivers, streams, and wells. Once city systems fail, rural water sources will remain usable with proper purification. And again, don't forget about the water pumps. I gotta keep mentioning that. They'll have water pumps. I almost feel like I shouldn't be mentioning water in this video at all. Anyway, the climate is equatorial, and outside the main typhoon belt. This means fewer destructive storms, faster zombie decay, and less crop damage, though flooding can contaminate water sources. The military and policing presence is significant, especially near Zamboanga City, home to Western Mindanao Command. The strong armed forces and communities used to security protocols in this region increase the odds of early containment. Civilian firearm ownership is also high here. As for culture and skills, they lean rural. Many communities are already semi-off-grid, familiar with farming and fishing, and accustomed to hardship. This boosts their resilience once larger urban areas fall. Overall, Zamboanga ranks 13th. Zamboanga City's collapse is dangerous, but the peninsula's low population, choke points, strong resource base, and armed communities give it a better shot at stabilization than the denser regions. Next up, we have Region 6 in Western Visaya, which covers Panay and Guimaras Island. Home to about 5 million people, the population is spread across several provinces rather than one megacity. Iloilo City is the largest urban center with around 450,000 people, followed by smaller provincial capitals like Roxas and Calibo. This decentralization lowers the scale of any single zombie horde compared to Metro Manila or Cebu. The water sources are reliable here too. Panay has strong rainfall, rivers like Alahar and Panay, and rural wells that can supply communities long after city systems fail. With fewer urban dead, contamination risks are lower than major metros. And food is one of the region's strongest assets. Panay has fertile plains for rice and corn, sugarcane, coconuts, and abundant fisheries, especially in Capiz, the seafood capital of the Philippines. Many families already farm or fish, which boosts resilience once supply chains break down. Geography and defense work in your favor here. Panay Central Mountains create natural barriers between provinces, and a few main roads connect them. Survivors could block passes to contain outbreaks locally. Guimaras Island is sparsely populated and easy to secure, potentially becoming a safe haven. The climate is rough here though. This region sits in the typhoon belt, and the major storms can wipe out crops, shelters, and defenses, especially since a lot of homes in the Philippines in rural areas are made of nipa huts. As for military and policing strengths in this region, that includes the 3rd Infantry Division at Camp Peralta. If the base remains intact, it can anchor defenses and coordinate clearance operations across the province. Rural barangays here are used to self-sufficiency, with farming, fishing, and bayanihan traditions. Many households have bolos and firearms, giving them practical means to defend their homes against the zombies. Overall, Western Visaya ranks 12th. Its moderate population, strong resource base, and island isolation make it far safer safer than the country's larger urban regions. Typhoons are the biggest threat, but survivors here have the means to sustain themselves and defend isolated areas against the zombies effectively. At 11th place, we have Region 1 located in Luzon. This region consists of Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, La Union, and Pangasinan with a population of about 5.3 million people. There's no single megacity here, just many towns and smaller cities. The province of Pangasinan is the most populated at around 3 million people, while the rest of the region has smaller urban centers. Outbreaks here would be fragmented into many smaller swarms rather than one massive horde, though Pangasinan's dense towns could merge into a larger crisis along the highway. In this region, water is moderately available. Ilocos is drier than most regions, but rivers like the Agno and Laoag and wells in the mountain springs provide clean sources. Contamination is still a concern in downstream communities though. As for food supply, it's solid. The region produces rice, corn, vegetables, fruits, and livestock. And Pangasinan has extensive fisheries. And the Ilocanos are resourceful farmers and have food preservation traditions, which helps sustain survivors after the initial outbreak. Geography and defense favor containment. The region sits between the South China Sea and the Cordillera Range. Limited passes through the mountains make it easier to control movement. The southern border with central Luzon is the main vulnerability, as refugees or infected could pour in from the Manila corridor. Just like the rest of the Philippines, the climate brings the occasional typhoon and flood, especially in Pangasinan, but these can also help thin zombie numbers. Military and policing are moderate. They have a few air and army installations here. Culture and life skills are a strong point here too. Ilocanos are known for self-reliance and disaster preparedness, with many rural households already used to hardship and some having access to firearms. Strong community ties increase the odds of organized defenses. Overall, Region 1, also known as the Ilocos region, ranks 11th. Pangasinan's population and proximity to central Luzon make it vulnerable early on, but natural defenses, food security, and resilient communities give it a strong long-term survival prospect. At 10th place, we have Region 5, also known as the Bicol region. This is where I spent a good chunk of my childhood. I was raised in Daet, Camarines Norte during the 90s, before moving to Canada in 2002. It's located in the southeastern tail of Luzon with about 6 million people. I still remember what it was like here when I was young. The power was constantly out, we didn't have access to cable, internet wasn't a thing yet, and we used manual water pumps to bathe and get drinking water. Toilets weren't hooked up in plumbing like they are in most modern places, so we had to flush them with buckets of water that we got from the water pump. Despite that, it was still one of the best times of my life. I think most people would hear that and think it sounds terrible, but those were simpler times. Places like this have a strong sense of community. Every time a typhoon would hit, a bunch of neighbors would come stay in our house until the storm passed. Because our house was built like a castle, a lot of homes in the Philippines are nipa huts. Out in rural areas at least, that's where I lived. If you live out in a rural area, you'll see like houses made of solid concrete, but a lot of them are made of nipa huts, and those will get blown over by a storm rather easily. Point is, the sense of community here is strong, and the people are extremely resilient. Hardship is a regular thing for a lot of Filipinos, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. Anyway, a bit of a tangent there. Cities like Legazpi and Naga are mid-sized. Also, I was born in Naga City. Just another random fact. But yeah, outbreaks would be dangerous, but not on the scale of Manila or Cebu. With no massive urban centers, most infection clusters would be local, giving rural communities a chance to isolate. Geography and defense make Bicol unique. The peninsula is connected to Luzon by narrow chokepoints in Quezon province. If bridges or highways at this point are blocked early, the region can cut itself off from northern hordes. Internal movement is also limited to a few main roads due to mountains and lakes, making containment more manageable. As for water access here, it's fairly abundant from rainfall of rivers and lakes like Bato. Wells are also common in rural barangays, same with manual water pumps. There's a lot of polluted rivers in this region though, so that's something to be mindful of. Food is solid too. Bicol has rice fields, root crops like taro and sweet potato, coconuts, pilay nuts, and rich fishing lines along the coastline. Survivors could realistically sustain themselves long-term here. Unfortunately, Bicol sits in the country's typhoon alley, facing multiple storms yearly that can flatten defenses. But it also thins zombie numbers. Active volcanoes like Mayon or Bulusan pose unpredictable dangers but can also act as a natural barrier. Military and policing are present throughout the region due to its history of insurgency. That combined with experienced disaster response systems gives Bicol a strong starting point for containment. Overall, Bicol ranks 10th. It has decent food and water sources, natural choke points, and strong community resilience, make it defensible, but relentless typhoons and volcanic hazards keep it from ranking higher. Next up, we have Region 10 in northern Mindanao with about 5.2 million people. The main risk are medium-sized urban hubs like Cagayan de Oro and the north coast and Ilagan to the west. Each can generate a large outbreak, and highway links between them can merge swarms if not blocked early. Geography and defense favor survival after the initial outbreak. Bukidnon's high plateau and Kalutangan ranges create defensible upland. A retreat from the coast into the mountain towns gives survivors a chance to control passes and bridges, and an opportunity to block roads behind them. Coastal approaches have choke points, and land links to Zamboanga and Caraga funnel through a few highways. This region is also less natural disaster prone than Bicol and Western Bisaya, so you're less likely to get swept away and lose everything to typhoons here. Access to water is excellent as well. Major rivers like the Cagayan and Pulangi and reservoir outflows near Iligan provide reliable sources once taps fail in major areas. Food is also a strength. Bukidnon's farms and plantations produce rice, corn, vegetables, sugarcane, and cattle. And fishing can be done along the Misami coasts. Camiguin, small and sparsely populated, can be sealed quickly as a safe island once cleared, assuming the zombies reach there in the first place. As for military here, they have the 4th Infantry Division and CDO. If forces hold upland or the hydro sites, they can anchor regional defenses. If they stay in dense urban zones, those sites risk turning into armed infestation points. Overall, Region 10 ranks 9th. It sits ahead of Bicol because its urban risk is split between 2 mid-sized cities that are ringed by mountain choke points, so distance from hubs and upland retreats are realistic. It also takes fewer natural disaster hits, and it has stronger year-round water and farmland than central Bisaya. If you base in upland barangays and avoid the coastal corridors, long-term survival here outperforms every region ranked below it. At 8th place, we have Region 12, located in Mindanao with about 4.5 million people. The primary outbreak engine here is General Santos City with above 700,000 people. Fortunately, this city is a coastal hub you can avoid, but if you're located in General Santos City, then you're done for. Sorry. The region is boxed in by mountains and the sea, so an outside influx of zombies will be limited. Ala Valley and Lake Cebu deliver year-round food and water, and the south gets far fewer typhoons than Bisaya. Add in armed, disaster-tested communities, and survival outside the city is strong. Water security is healthy here. There are a ton of big rivers and mountain springs. Food security is excellent as well. This region is one of the country's agricultural powerhouses, with rice, corn, livestock, coconuts, and tuna fisheries. And the climate is stable with minimal typhoon exposure. Military and security capacity is high. Multiple army divisions operate in the area, and many communities are armed and used to security protocols. This gives Region 12 a strong shot at organized defense. Overall, Region 12 ranks 8th. It has a major city outbreak to manage early on, but the combination of rural dominance, defensible terrain, strong resource security, and armed communities make it more stable than lower ranked regions. Next up at rank 7, we have Region 8, which is located on eastern Bisaya. This location includes Leyte, Samar, Biliran, and nearby smaller islands with around 4.6 million people. Tacloban is the biggest city here with about 250,000 people, with Ormoc, Calabayog, and Catabalogan as other mid-sized towns. That means the outbreak creates scattered mid-level hordes rather than one overwhelming swarm. This region is split between Leyte, Samar, and Bilaran, with San Juanico Bridge as the only land connection between the first two. Destroying, barricading, or defending the bridge can stop hordes from moving between islands. Ferry routes to Luzon and Mindanao would likely shut down fast, leaving the region isolated. That isolation gives survivors defensible choke points like bridges and ports. Samar is rugged and forest with poor road networks, while Leyte has flat land with highlands in the center. Bilaran is mountainous with a volcano. Survivors can use hilltop villages and valleys with a single access road as natural fortresses. Water is abundant here too. Lots of rainfall in the region, same with rivers and springs that should provide more than enough water. This region is poor but self-sustaining. People rely on rice, corn, root crops, coconuts, and fishing. Interior forests also offer wild game and edible plants. Communities here survive Typhoon Haiyan with the same resources. Interestingly enough, the poorer regions of the Philippines will almost always do better than the richer regions due to their self-sufficiency. That being said, typhoons are the main enemy here, just like many other regions. But Bayanihan culture and disaster preparedness are strong. Communities are used to self-organizing during crises. Guerrilla groups familiar with terrain may also control upland areas. Military presence is moderate as well, with bases like Camp Lakban that could become fortresses if troops hold their ground. Overall, zombies are not the worst problem here, the weather is. Low population density and island isolation make undead containment easier. Survivors only need to manage storms, food production, and disease. If they survive Typhoon Haiyan, which killed thousands of people, they can more than likely survive zombies. That's why Eastern Bisaya lands a solid mid to high rank at 7th place. At number 6, we have Bangsamoro Autonomous Region, with 5.6 million people spread across mainland and islands. The key here is extreme distribution with no megacities. The largest centers are Cotabato City at around 300,000 people, and a war-damaged Marawi City at about 200,000. Initial outbreaks will hit small to mid-sized towns, meaning many remote villages might not see zombies for days or weeks, giving them crucial preparation time. Geography is this region's greatest asset. In Mindanao, the massive Lingusan Marsh traps zombies in its wetlands, while residents live in stilt houses, raising bridges to stay safe. To the north, Llano del Sur surrounds Lake Lanao, its mountains forming natural barriers that let boat-based communities thrive. The island provinces of Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi are naturally isolated by the sea. Survivors can island hop to safety, with water villages like Sitangkay turning into zombie-proof fortresses once their footbridges are destroyed. As for water, it's abundant here, from lakes and year-round rainfall. Food comes from rice, corn, coconut, and incredibly rich fisheries in the Sulu and Celebes Sea. Climate is another massive advantage. Being far south, this region largely avoids typhoons. Tawi-Tawi virtually never sees them, meaning survivors can build permanent settlements without constant disaster rebuilding. And here's the real game changer. Decades of armed conflict left most civilians armed and trained. The MILF has thousands of former fighters ready to organize, and no, not the Western type of MILF. I'm talking about the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. Almost every able-bodied male knows combat tactics and has evacuation experience. Replace insurgents with zombies, and they'll apply the same strategies. The Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao ranks number 6 because it has few zombies, access to natural resources, geographic defenses, and an armed trained population and climate stability. If groups unite against a common threat, Bangsamoro becomes one of the safest bastions in the apocalypse. You could arguably rank this much higher than I did. Now at number 5, we have Region 2, Cagayan Valley in northeastern Luzon, with around 3.7 million people spread over the country's second largest region by land area. This place has no major metropolis. The biggest cities are Artugo-Gararo at 166,000 people, Ilagan at 158,000 people, and Santiago at 148,000 people. Initial outbreaks will be small and scattered, meaning local authorities and armed citizens could contain them early before things spiral out of control. In a perfect world, at least. But when it comes to zombies, nothing is ever perfect. Geography makes this region nearly fortress-like. It's boxed in by mountains to the west and Sierra Madre to the east, with only narrow passes like Dalton Pass connecting it to central Luzon. Block those choke points and you've sealed off the entire valley from Luzon's infected zones. The eastern Sierra Madre is trackless wilderness with almost no entry points, so zombies would struggle to come through the dense forest as well. The core is a wide plain along the Cagayan River, surrounded by mountains that funnel any threat through easily defensible highways. And water is abundant. Although the largest source, called Cagayan River, is massively polluted, the region does have countless rivers and springs. And again, don't forget the water pumps. I gotta keep mentioning the water pumps. As for food security, it's exceptional. This region is a top rice and corn producer, with Isabela being the country's corn capital. They have massive rice stocks in warehouses, root crops, livestock, and fishing along the coast. Batanes, especially, with only 18,000 people, is incredibly self-sufficient. I'm starting to talk Tagalog. Self-sufficient na naman baga. Is incredibly self-sufficient with root crops, cattle, and fishing. The region gets hit by typhoons frequently, but communities are used to rebuilding quickly. Defense-wise, many locals are hunters with firearms, and the 5th Infantry Division is based in Isabela. Region 2 ranks number 5 because once they lock down the entry points and clear the small cities, the entire valley can function almost normally with ample food, water, and natural defenses. Alright, we are flying through this. This is probably officially my longest video I've done. So if you've made it this far, thank you. You're the real MVP here. At number 4, we have Region 13, also known as Caraga, in northeast Mindanao, with about 2.8 million people, one of the lowest populations in the country. The largest city here is Butuan, at 370,000 people, followed by Surigao City at 171,000. That means only 2 notable outbreaks to worry about initially. Butuan is spread out. Butuan? If you're from the Philippines, you know what Buto is. Butuan is spread out so zombies will disappear over a while. Butuan is spread out. Butuan is spread out, so zombies will disperse over a wide area rather than pack into one downtown, making them easier to pick off. Surigao City sits in a peninsula tip and can be isolated by cutting the one land route. Everything else is rural village with indigenous forest communities. Geography is Caraga's massive advantage. Agusan del Sur has a marsh and a jungle where zombies will get stuck in waist-deep swamp water, while humans hide in elevated huts. Many remote villages are only accessible by river, making isolation easy. Surigao has rugged terrain with Diwata Mountains shielding the interior. The coastal areas have offshore islands like Surigao and Dinagat that can be sealed off by simply stopping boats. Dinagat Island with 120,000 people could become a fortress by controlling the few small ports. On the other hand, Caraga is naturally enclosed by mountains to the west and the south, oceans to the east, and no land connection to Bisaya in the north. Water is abundant here as well, but just like other regions, the main water source is extremely polluted. You will find countless streams here though. As for food sources, they're abundant here. Food includes rice in Agusan Valley, plus crucial root crops like cassava and sweet potato that grow easily. Coastal communities have fishing, coconut, and bananas. The main threat is typhoons from the Pacific. Coastal Surigao takes the brunt of the typhoons, while inland Agusan is safer. Defense-wise, people here are self-sufficient and armed for hunting. Caraga ranks number 4 because of its low population, abundant resources, natural barriers, and community resilience. Survivors could live off the land and water indefinitely with minimal zombie interference. At number 3, we have the Cordillera Administrative Region in northern Luzon Mountains with around 1.8 million people, the smallest population of any region. The only sizable city is Baguio at about 366,000 people, built on a plateau, accessible by just a few steep roads. If Baguio falls, zombies can't easily stream out since roads can be blocked or collapsed via landslides. Other towns like La Trinidad at 137,000 people, with most villages in narrow valleys or mountaintops hours apart. Terrain is the ultimate defense here. Cordillera is all high mountains, steep cliffs, rice terraces, and winding roads. Slow zombies would tumble down ravines or struggle uphill, becoming easy targets. Narrow roads means one barricade protects entire towns. Many communities are one road in and one road out, so cutting that road makes them safe. Only a few highways connect to the other regions, all prone to landslides that can be triggered to sever access completely. Hordes from crowded lowlands simply won't reach here. As for water, it's extremely abundant with springs and creeks in every valley feeding the famous rice terraces. Food comes from terrace rice farming, sweet potatoes, root crops, and vegetable farms that grow cabbage, carrots, and potatoes. They also raise livestock and preserve meat via traditional smoking methods. This region gets a good amount of rainfall, causing landslides that isolate areas, which actually helps defensively. In Cordillera, people are known for their warrior history and strong community ties as well. Many have spears, bolos, or rifles for hunting, and the terrain allows guerrilla tactics. Cordillera Administrative Region ranks number 3 due to its lowest population, formidable terrain, and self-sufficient culture, making it nearly perfect for survival. At number 2, we have Mimorapa, Region 4B, the island region covering Mindoro, Marinduque, Romblon, and Palawan with around 3.23 million people spread over multiple islands. This group of islands gives it a massive survival edge. The largest town is Puerto Princesa in Palawan at 307,000, followed by Capalan in Oriental Mindoro at 145,000. No dense metro areas at all. Each island will have a few thousand zombies at most. Geography is everything here. Each island becomes its own fortress. Palawan is huge, but lightly populated with jungles and indigenous groups who might barely notice the apocalypse. Mindoro has central mountains diving east and west, with survivors able to cross between sides. Marinduque, with 239,000 people, can lock down by canceling ferries. Romblon's multiple small islands can isolate completely, with some potentially having 0 infected. As for water, it comes from rivers, lakes, springs, and rainfall. Food security is exceptional with rich fisheries in all provinces. Palawan especially has abundant marine resources from the West Philippine Sea to Sulu Sea. Agriculture includes rice production in Mindoro and Palawan. Root crops, fruits, livestock, and coconuts everywhere providing oil, food, and fuel. Indigenous Mangyan groups have valuable forest survival knowledge as well. Climate-wise, Palawan rarely gets direct typhoons, especially in the south. Marinduque and Mindoro get moderate hits, but storms usually weaken first. And Palawan is geologically the most stable island in the Philippines with virtually no earthquakes or volcanoes. And military presence is strong with Western Command headquarters in Palawan, giving them the capability to secure the city and critical infrastructure quickly. And island communities here are tight-knit and self-sufficient. They're used to minimal outside help. That being said, Mimaropa ranks number 2 because of the low population spread over a self-sustaining island with mild climate and strong resources. Each province here could survive independently without electricity. Combine that with a Western military presence, and this place is looking pretty damn good. Alright guys, before I get to the number 1 pick, I just want to quickly mention that I have a Discord server. So if you're interested in meeting people who like zombies just as much as you do, this is the place to go. I also have a Project Zomboid server for those of you that play. I'm still in the process of building the player base, so feel free to pop in and link up with the community. And last but not least, if you want to hang out with me outside of my zombie breakdowns, you could find the unfiltered version of me unwinding on my old gaming channel. I haven't posted on it in a while, but I do plan to start posting again very soon, so feel free to head over there and subscribe. Alright, now let's get back to it. And at number 1, we have the Negros Island region, located in Bisaya, and yes, that's what I called it. For all my viewers in North America, please don't take that out of context. For the remainder of the video, I'll refer to it as the NIR region, just so people don't think I'm talking about something else. With around 4.9 million people, the NRI region is essentially a mini country at 13,000 square kilometers, with ample resources and a population mostly spread outside a couple of cities. The key advantage is that it's a big island in the Visayas surrounded by water on all sides. Once ports shut down, no new zombies can reach it. You only deal with those already on the island during the outbreak. Population-wise, the two main cities are Bacolod at 650,000 people in the west and Dumaguete at 145,000 in the east. Dumaguete is much smaller and could be contained quickly. Bacolod's zombies stumbling through sugarcane fields actually help, since the tall razor-sharp plants will lacerate and slow them down, plus fields can be set on fire if needed. The NRI region is the sugar bowl of the Philippines, with massive plantations that can be converted to rice, corn, and root crops post-outbreak. There's also livestock, poultry, and rich fishing all around the island's coastlines. As for hydration, water comes from many rivers flowing from Mountain Canlaon, plus wells and springs everywhere. Geography provides strong defense. The mountain interior creates choke points between east and west with only a few highways, and flat coastal plains offer great visibility to spot zombies from far away. As for homes in this area, many residents have sturdy houses and perimeter fences that become ready-made safe compounds. And the climate is moderate with fewer typhoons than the east coast. The NRI region earns the number 1 spot because it checks every survival box and outperforms every rival. Natural isolation limits fresh threats once ports are shut. Resources are ridiculous. From sugar fields you can pivot to food crops to coastal fisheries ringing the island. There are no mega cities, only 2 manageable hubs. And the interior mountains create choke points that defenders can hold. The climate is workable most years, which keeps water and crops consistent. If any region can move from hanging on to producing a surplus to rebuilding a stable network of towns, it's the NIR region. Short term it survives. Long term it has the best shot at thriving and becoming the backbone of a post-apocalypse Philippines. I honestly think that anything in the top 5 could be shuffled around, so I want to hear what you guys think. How would you rank it? Let me know in the comment section below.